Artists care passionately about education for the next generation of creative individuals coming up, especially in today's educational environment. Teaching Artists Rochester facilitates their involvement in the classroom and outside of the classroom. Here to talk with us about it are Larry Moss, he's the executive director, and Gretchen Anthony. She's the program coordinator and arts administrator at Teaching Artists Rochester. Thank you both for coming into the spotlight and telling us about your wonderful organization. It's so exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Well,
always fun to share.
It's so great. Now, there's nothing like having artists in the classroom. I think it's good for the kids and good for the schools and good for the artists.
It presents entirely new opportunities for the kids. It's one thing to discuss things and show video, but to actually have live presentations with artists interacting, and it's not just artists, anything you can bring into the classroom is going to be so much more effective reaching your audience.
This fills a specific need. There used to be young audiences, for instance, here in Rochester.
Right. So Young Audiences is a national organization that still exists all over. Young Audiences of Western New York is still operating in Buffalo. The Rochester chapter ran into some trouble a few years ago, and we lost them. And it was a shame because they did a great job of getting artists into the classroom. It was great for the artists. It was great for the classes and community centers that could use them. When we lost that organization, it created an opening. There was this void that separated the artists and the places that could use them. So it was an interesting challenge to overcome. And I got on the phone. I went through the roster, the Young Audiences roster, and started calling all of those artists and saying, hey, we can't just let this go away. Let's create something new. And, with the idea of if we're starting from scratch, we really can create something new, rethink what's needed today, not try to model what existed previously. And it's been fun, exhausting, but rewarding.
Yeah.
And Gretchen, is there a board of directors, or how does your organization work?
Yes, there is a board of directors. Right now, we're in the middle of getting our 501c3, so we have a fiscal sponsor, but we're well on the way to becoming an official not-for-profit. But that hasn't stopped us. We're still out writing grants, and we still get artists into the schools and into after-school programs. Did a lot of summer camp this past year, and did some work at one of the local neighborhood farm markets, which was kind of cool. We got a NISCA grant for that. So,
NISCA is the New York State Council on the Arts.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. So in 5 years, this is a lot of progress, all right. I think it's about 2017 you started, Larry?
Yeah, in 2017, like I said, I went down the roster and just started calling artists, and it was, hey, let's get together, let's talk. At the time, I thought the last thing we needed was to form an official organization. I thought we were going to get together for networking. We were going to share contacts at schools. We were going to help each other develop programs. But it was the goal was a very informal organization. And it turned into, very quickly learning that grant money existed to develop these things. And if you're not a nonprofit, it's hard to get your hands on that grant money. And there was just a need. And there were schools that said, we want an easier way of booking. We don't want to call every artist individually. We want to. So this loose collective of artists just turned into something so much more substantial. And I especially given our original goals, I can't believe how we've come in the last 5 years.
That's so you have many programs to coordinate, Gretchen. What kind of offerings are there?
Well, we've got what's up on our website. Each of our artists have their own page, and they all offer what we would call standard programs. But we also go out and collaborate, work with other organizations or schools who might have a particular interest in something a little bit different. And so we create things. We did a summer camp that way this year for a local rec center who hadn't had an arts program in probably 10 years. And so 3 hours every day during summer, we had some kind of an art and cultural component, because that's also important. We try to blend different types of things in with the arts. So,
well,
yeah.
And you mentioned your website. So while we're on the topic, please tell us what that link is so people can navigate there.
It's teachingartistsroc.com, and ROC is ROC. Yeah, and as Gretchen said, we have currently 30 artists and ensembles listed there. There are a few more that aren't listed, and since the programs are constantly evolving and we're creating new ones as needed, I would say if you look there and get ideas but don't see exactly what you're looking for, ask us about it. Chances are we can have it or can create it, or we'll help work with you to find the appropriate thing that we do have for your situation. And, it's venues, it's all sorts of venues. It's any venue that can benefit from any sort of educational arts enhancement. So schools, museums, libraries, community centers, senior centers, we have programs for all of them.
Yep.
And are these storytellers? Are these magicians? Are these musicians? What's the range like?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We have all of those.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you mentioned dancers.
Right.
We have dance, physical movement,
Sword fight. Fight choreographer.
Fight choreography is probably one of the most unusual things that we have now. And it's not just a matter of teaching the arts or teaching a specific skill set. It's using the arts to apply in all sorts of ways. So if you're doing dance or you're doing fight choreography, you're also doing phys ed. And you can be combining that phys ed with your STEM program. So you're getting the science in there. If I'm on stage doing a program with balloons, it has a very heavy science component, so that you have an opportunity, not even necessarily balloon science, but, simple machines, learn how to put things together with different materials. We could be working with paper, folding paper to demonstrate science techniques or science
concept
knowledge and skills. Like flight, aerodynamics.
Yeah, one of the ones we're working on right now too is with the eclipse. Rochester is going to be in direct line for the eclipse, and all of our artists now have programs somehow related to the eclipse, either scientifically related or culturally related. It's been an interesting challenge for some of them, but they're creatives. They figured out what they're going to do. So, we've already started working on getting them into places for the eclipse, which is April 8th. 2024.
April 8th of 2024. Fantastic. Now, your name is Teaching Artists Rochester. Do you work locally or regionally or through the counties, or where's your...
It's actually Teaching Artists ROC.
ROC.
Because teaching artists really rock. We figured that play would be fun and interesting and useful and all of that. But so we're based in Rochester. Our focus is absolutely Rochester, Monroe County. However, we very quickly started doing things all over
Southern tier. We've got Corning. We've done a couple things at the Corning Museum of Glass, and we've got a couple of teaching artists that are going to Cattaraugus, one of the schools in Cattaraugus, Allegheny. They're going out to Palmyra, Macedon, Virgin Byron, wherever there's a need, we go.
That's,
And we have our artists that come from other spaces to work with us
yeah,
as well. We've got a couple
if the artists are local or if they're regional as well.
Regional. We've got some in Syracuse, some in Buffalo, picking up a few in the southern tier as well. We kind of, as we go out, we find other artists or they find us.
Mm-hmm. And Ball in the House is out in Boston.
I forgot about that.
No kidding.
Yep.
So so the original goal was to provide something for those in Rochester, and it just very quickly grew, and there's been demand. And a lot of our artists, even if not through us, are booking things nationally, internationally. So when you go down the list, I mean, Push Physical Theater, when we get calls to book them, it's always fun to try to figure out where they are in the country to get them booked. Ball in the House also is always on the road. I'm frequently traveling.
There's a group.
It's been interesting.
Well, now, you mentioned Ball in the House, but I don't think from the name people would understand what kind of offering that is. What is that?
They're an a cappella group.
A cappella, so vocal.
Yeah, and they have been around for quite a while. In fact, one of the teachers that I recently talked to outside of Syracuse was looking at the roster. I was helping her decide what program she wanted, and she was, I remember when Ball in the House came to my school. So they've been around for a while, but yeah, they're a very cool group. I've seen them a couple times myself.
Well, now, Larry, it sounds like there's a broad range of artists involved. Are they multicultural as well as multidisciplinary?
Absolutely. We have a whole bunch of Latinx. We have some indigenous artists. Who am I forgetting? That was actually one of the goals that we set out from the beginning. When we said we were going to do this, we were going to make sure that we covered as much. We wanted to reflect in our artists all of the cultures seen in the area. And that included with our board members. As we were putting the board together, we said we want a board that's going to reflect the artists that we have, and so it has been top of mind since day one.
That is phenomenal.
We have a couple of artists from China and from the Middle East, some African American artists. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody. I don't think so. Right now, that's where we're at. That doesn't mean we're not going to add more people. As we find more artists, they join.
And so if I'm a school administrator, do I find your website and contact you directly, or how does it work, Gretchen?
Yep, that's either you reach out. Usually it's through our website. There's a spot to contact us, and then either myself or Larry, but generally me, are the ones that are going to, respond. Usually within 24 to 48 hours, depending on where one of us are. If we're not in the office, we might be at a site doing a visit or working on a project with somebody. So that's how it gets started.
And do you accept donations there as well?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so please please give us that website just one more time.
teachingartistsroc.com.
teachingartistsroc.com. Well, it's been delightful to learn all about it today. Thank you so much for joining us in the spotlight to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you. So joining us today to talk about teachingartistsroc.com are Larry Moss, the executive director, and Gretchen Anthony. She's the program coordinator and arts administrator at Teaching Artists ROC. It's been great to visit in the spotlight. Join us again next time. In the Spotlight is a production of Penfield Television with sponsorship from Milken & Associates, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Advisors. If you enjoy this program, please find us on Facebook, like and share the program, and find our full playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.